Welcome to Chewer, the Left Side Brain podcast. I'm Ollie Jewiden, 1/4 of LSB, and with me, as always, are Gareth Jones,
Good evening.
Rich Sadler,
Watcher.
and Ryan Brooks.
Yes, boys.
We are back after an unintended summer break. You all okay? Nice few weeks off?
Oh, lovely. It's been boiling.
I'm great. It's been a wicked break. I've missed you, boys.
Yeah, missed you guys. Been too long.
Can you remember episode 8? It was a fun one, from what I
No.
remember. People
Nope.
seem to enjoy hearing us discuss the finer points of 80s pop.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, make it big.
Any reflections a few weeks on?
I what a treat. I absolutely loved it. And I love this direction that we're taking with things now. Unless I've misread the email that went out, we're reviewing Bros today as well, in keeping with the last one. So I think this is going to be a real treat. I've done a lot of homework. I'm quite excited.
And Jive Bunny next week.
Has anyone put the album on since we did the deep dive?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Not so much. Not so much.
Nope.
Although it has led to some interesting conversations in my life. When I was at the physio the other day, being the old decrepit man that I am, ended up getting into an hour-long conversation with my physio about George Michael and that album.
Really?
Wowzers.
Yeah.
What was the angle? What was the debate?
I don't know how we got into it, but basically I was sort of, reiterating the point that, George Michael's a little bit of a gag until, you really start to pay attention and you come to realize how, amazing he is in so many ways from such an early days. And she felt like she actually had to, of course, yeah, he's amazing. Why didn't you know that? Yeah, and then threw a load of other facts at me as well about his subsequent achievements as well. So, yeah, life keeps throwing back at me.
Well, she was physically pummeling you.
Physically pummeling my Achilles tendon, yes.
See, that's a proper interesting conversation to have, right? The last time that I had a conversation with someone in the service industry like that, I went to the dentist and to the hygienist, and the old lady who was there, I started talking to her about just normal innocuous things. I think I might have mentioned something about it had been quite difficult for me to find a dentist, what with, the problems with getting a dentist these days. And I mentioned something about, obviously it being the Tories' fault. And then she went on a massive rant about how actually it's not the Tories' fault, it's the fault of the immigrants. Which I could not have been more dismayed. Like I easily fell into the trap of assuming that other people think the same way that I do. And I was like completely hook, line, and sinker. And she ranted at me about the immigrants. It was amazing.
And now that's how you think.
That's where I learned.
You're a convert. Yeah. I knew it.
Always funny having a conversation with someone you're face down through a hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are there any other situations when that happens? I suppose they were when you were working as a sewage man's assistant, maybe.
Brother-in-law did that. Used to work down
Really?
clearing flatbergs and stuff.
He's Kieran Fatbergs. He's your brother-in-law, is he?
Kieran Flatbergs. Yeah, he used to play. He used to play wing back for Crystal Palace as well.
Oh. Does it start going up? Oh.
That note, time for some correspondence.
Mail.
Just one this week. It's a fantasy supergroup submitted
Oh, yes.
by friend of the pod, friend of the band, one-time co-frontman of ska rap rock legends Imperial Leisure, bad boy Bushy B himself, Ben Webb. I'll go through person by person and react as you see fit. So it's a 4-piece. On guitar, we have Jay Maskis.
Okay.
Amazing guitarist.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just my mind already boggling at who works well with Jay Maskis.
Well,
Isn't he like famously difficult to get on with as well? I mean, this is already shaping up to be a difficult one.
yeah, brace yourselves. On bass, Les Claypool.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yep.
They could be mates. They're the same generation, surely.
Yeah.
Probably know each other already, don't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mutual respect there, I reckon. Good.
On vocals, Cyndi Lauper.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Um.
There's something about her voice that makes me go a bit loopy in a great way. It's really incredible tone she has, Cyndi Lauper, as well as great songs. So much respect there.
She's always struck me as like a true artist, right? Like she sounds weird, and then that's how she wants to sound.
Yeah.
You know, I love a bit of that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And making the final place in this lineup on drums, Mike D.
Ah,
Well, you
wild.
know, I mean, Sabotage is some great drumming.
Yeah, it really is.
So hang on, let's think that through again. So we got Mike D,
Mm-hmm.
we got Lauper on vocals,
Mm-hmm.
Les Claypool, and Jay Mascis.
Correct. He's given a description of what they sound like. So shall I give you that
Thank-
before we
thank goodness
discuss
for that.
further?
Please.
Please.
Slow, grungy, noodly hip hop with dreamy melodies.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
I think this might be the best candidate for the one that would actually work. I
Yeah.
feel like they would
Yeah.
all get on.
Yeah.
They're all the same
Well-
generation, pretty much, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well thought out manifesto as well in terms of sound.
Yeah.
Imagine that working.
He suggested one name and then decided a different name was better. So his initial suggestion was Fuzzy Feathers, but then said actually Quench with a K is better.
Wench.
Everything's cooler with a K.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And the winner is
Yes.
Yeah, so there we go. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Lovely stuff. Everyone, please keep sending those in. I think it's the gift that keeps on giving, that one, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So,
100%.
and any other correspondence? We're still waiting for some Iron Maiden recommendations or
Oh, yeah.
playlists. I know some of you are thinking about that. So please send those in. Comments on any other episodes we've done. If you're just catching up now or suggestions for future episodes, we welcome the lot. Email leftsidebrainband@gmail.com or message us via Facebook, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts, however you see fit. Right, let's move on.
You're just too good to turn down. You're just too good to turn down. You're just too good to turn down. Brain trigger for life. Connect with the
So, what we've been up to since we recorded episode 8 a whole 7 weeks ago. Important things first. G, a few weeks ago, you shared a link with the three of us that we couldn't not mention, I think. It led to an article in the Irish Star with the title, Heavy Metal Fans Vomiting and Crying as Concert Goer Poops in Mosh Pit. Can you remember the details of the story, G? Do you want to
Oh, God, I'm not sure I
enlighten
can
us?
remember. I mean, it's a long time ago now, but as I recall, it was literally as it says, mid gig, someone was in the mosh pit, and the bloke in front of them, I think, if I'm right, saw the person in front of him do a poo in his pants and shake it out down his leg, a number of poos onto the floor in front of him, which ended up with a clearing of the dance floor and all the same kind of caterwauling that you would imagine.
I think if I remember rightly, the original chap tried to kind of brush it aside.
That was it. He tried to push it away with his foot.
It's like, not my problem now, mate.
What's that?
Just served to kind of spread the kind of danger zone.
Like he's sort of shaking it down his trouser leg, like in The Great Escape, isn't it? With the sand in their
sand.
pockets.
Mm.
You know, maybe he did it at home and he's brought it in and he's just trying to secrete it there.
Well, I mean, I do have the article in front of me if you would like some choice quotes.
Yes, please.
It starts by saying a crowd at a Devilskin show in Dunedin, New Zealand, were left crying and vomiting after one fan had an accident in the middle of the mosh pit, turning what started as a routine concert into what attendees described as a night ruiner.
I
They
mean,
were they were the main support that night, I think, weren't they?
there's a big assumption here that there was that
That it was an accident. Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. So what do you think, right? Put yourself in the shoes of the perpetrator, right? What happened? So he was there watching the band, right?
hmm
Needs a poo, right? You would assume he knew he needed a poo. And you don't just suddenly need a poo so bad that you do a poo in your pants, right?
Well,
That would have been going for a while. He would have known all about this for a while, and maybe like, oh, I love this song. Oh, and the next one comes. Oh, I love this one as well. I'm going to
What?
have to stay here. They
I
must
don't
have had a
know.
toilet there.
Don't know how big a fan this guy is, but it's not like he's kind of made it to the barrier of Harry Styles and he doesn't want to go anywhere. It's like I don't want to underplay Devilskin's part in this, but
Oh, do you know
I
what?
think it's getting pretty functional when it comes to toileting and the front of gigs, isn't it? People with their sheepies and their little flasks or their things wrapped around their leg like something out with nail and I wouldn't put it
But-
past somebody thinking, oh,
Hang
I
on.
need a
What
poo.
things wrapped down whose leg? Like what?
I've got
You know, like a pipe thing you can attach to the old chap.
What?
Gotta tape it to your
I've got
leg.
a friend who does that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's people
What?
pretty.
It
Yeah.
decants into like a pouch around his ankle, and then
You're not thinking of a colostomy bag, are you?
no. He attaches this for gigs when he doesn't want to move too far, and then later he's in a more open area. He opens a tap on a little pouch onto the ground.
Maybe this guy was experimenting with the same mindset.
And how does it attach to the penis?
It's like a sheath.
A clamp of some kind, is it?
Maybe it's
Masking
a
tape.
pipe up the old.
Up?
Up.
No.
Oh,
I mean,
Really?
that's pretty invasive. But
yeah. Oh,
Up the old Franklin?
yeah.
That can't be right.
if you think what's coming out is very firm, maybe that gives you the confidence that you could dispatch it down your leg with minimal
oh, right.
grazing,
Well, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
all right.
and
Well,
roll
so-
it out and flick it on.
All right, let's look at the details of this story a bit more then, because according
Yes,
to the
let's.
article, the atmosphere had been typical for a heavy metal concert until one attendee lost control of their bowels during a medical emergency, with feces ending up on the floor in the middle of the crowd. A gig goer said he noticed the smell before realizing what had happened. Right, here's a direct quote from the person who smelled it before he realized. He said, "The guy who was directly in front of me proceeded to shake a log down his leg," adding that the man then tried to deal with the situation in a way that made things worse. Rather than stepping away immediately, the individual attempted to move the mess with his foot, which only spread it further across the mosh pit. He
Well,
said,
can we assume, using the old Bristol stool chart, which
Oh,
hopefully
of
you're all
course.
familiar with, what
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
consistency of this
If
dispatch would have been? Because that suggests to me that it could be a bit splatty.
they're calling it a log, right?
no, he said a
Oh.
log, didn't he? Yeah.
Okay.
If it's a log, it's got to be firm, and if it's firm enough to shake it down your leg, I'm imagining, that's like it's like Caddyshack all over again, right?
That would be between type 2 and type 4 on the Bristol stool chart logic.
Okay.
The
Okay.
type 2 being lumpy and sausage shaped, type 4 being smooth sausage or snake like, in brackets, ideal form.
Snake-like.
Type 4.
Yeah, again, Rich, you've come strong with the categories when we need you.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Type 5 is Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Stately.
Mate, skid right off the road, didn't you?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like there was a decision point for him before the trouser shaking when he could have started backing out of the pit.
yeah, it could easily have left.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've got a theory, right? I'm thinking this through. So a genuine reason for this to have happened could be that we've all been to shitty dive venues where, and I certainly have needed a shit in them plenty of times. And sometimes you go into the bogs and there's no doors on the cubicles and the whole place is wrecked. And you think, oh, that's put a hole in my plans. I can't have the poo that I need now. and suddenly you've got no options. So then maybe you end up, you think, well, I've got to go home. I really love that band. Maybe I'll just go and do a poo on the dance floor, shake a log down my leg, and then push it away with my foot so no one will know it's me. And then satisfied with that plan, skip back out to the dance floor and get cracking.
It's
Well,
a
never
theory.
know.
Crap,
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
I can't think of another reason.
No.
Series of decisions that could end with, I'm going to do a poo here.
Anyway, just to round off the story, because obviously we've got them from that and ending up with people vomiting and crying. To cut to the chase, the guy who spotted this on the floor notified security, and security came over and had a look, saw who'd done it. But before he had a chance to step in, people literally stepped in to the poo and started spreading it all around, spreading the smell throughout the crowd. Another attendee said the odour had an immediate effect on those nearby. She said she believed the smell triggered lots of people to then vomit, which quickly escalated as more people reacted.
There's nothing funnier than someone gagging.
People started spewing in response to that, she added, describing how the combination of smell.
It's the crying that makes this funny, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
The
yeah.
spewing and then
Can you
crying.
imagine seeing a poo and the response being like,
And then somewhat inevitably the band realised everyone is moving away from the centre of the dance floor.
circle pit.
Yeah.
I did know someone at university who, if their bowels involuntarily opened, so did all their other sphincters. So they had diarrhea, they'd start spewing at the same time. And it was like this sort of cycling effect. I didn't know. So maybe that could,
And urinating?
I guess so. Sort of, the person said all sphincters. So
Wow. That's special.
yeah.
Just to finish the story off, I do need to read this final paragraph. So this guy Damien, who's one of the witnesses who'd seen it happen and seen the log come out and had notified security, he said at the end, once the band realised and stopped the set, he said he then tried to make it clear to the band what had happened. He explained that he had decided to demonstrate the act so that Devilskin understood what had happened, though he clarified he did not repeat the incident himself.
Well, so how was it? The guy who pooed tried to demonstrate to the band, or
No,
the guy who saw him shake a log down his leg?
The latter, yes.
Well, it was Damien who claims it was.
Was it? Was
Yeah.
it like? You remember? Was it like?
Oh.
For those of you listening to the audio version of the podcast,
Which
Richard
is all of you.
was. I can't even describe what were those motions you were doing.
Well, first was waving to get the attention of the band.
Right.
Secondly was like pointing down,
right.
stinky.
Okay, yeah. And what's that? Yeah, that's the one I couldn't really describe. What's
Plopping chicken.
plopping
Right, yeah.
chicken's face?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's
And
a
then the
tough-
horror and the crying. Yeah, I got you.
And the band would be like,
Oh,
yeah. That again.
Moshpit scenario.
Got
Gotcha. Yeah.
Got him one.
Yeah.
Another question, boys. The route that the log would have to take, right, from anus to being shaken down the leg, right? Assuming it's firm, imagine the path it's got to take between the cheeks, somehow navigate the pants, and then freely make its way unencumbered to the leg section, to the side, to come down.
Yes.
Those trousers must be quite loose trousers, I assume, because otherwise it's a really difficult route.
I'm thinking of your trousers circa 2002.
That's exactly where I was going. Yeah, like
Well,
big ass jeans.
this
Big
also makes me realise that the act was premeditated, not a man getting himself out of trouble. I think he's kind of manoeuvred his undercrackers such that the log has a smoother channel down the trouser.
Pull them to the side.
Yeah.
Right.
Rather than,
Yeah.
oh no, that's in there, what am I going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think actually he's done it lots of times before massive stadium shows and got away with it because, you know, the smell's not so bad and everything?
Oh,
And
outdoor
actually
show? for
Forgot
example?
forgot he was in a students' union, and
Yeah, maybe it would work perfectly at download, wouldn't it? But
yeah, muddy Glastonbury, no problem.
yeah,
I mean, if
The trousers might be tucked into your wellies there, though.
Oh God.
Point. What a
But
mistake
if
of a maker.
the act of shaking it down the leg that's what draws attention to it, right? If
Yeah.
he got it down the leg without shaking it, then as soon as he's nudged it off to the side with his foot, then he's off scot-free. He's in the clear. In fact, he can then look at the person next to him and go, "Oh, mate, fantastic."
Oh.
Maybe
Right,
we can find this person. Maybe we
Get
can
him
get
on.
them as a guest on the
Get him
pod.
on. Yeah.
What do you want the pooer or the guy who saw him shake a log down his leg?
The
I want the
pooer.
log-
We want the
Or with the log
inside.
shaker. Yeah.
Mm.
I'll take anybody involved in this.
Yeah, or any
Yes.
members of the band Log Shaker. They're
Or,
obviously
Yeah.
welcome as well.
or night ruiner.
well, if anyone wants to suggest a lineup for Log Shaker, then please send it in for next time.
Like.
I think we've found the sweet spot of the podcast.
If we wanted that some aspect of this to be a recreation of what it's like to be in our lounge when we all live together, if that isn't it, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, blimey. Right. There have been a few other things that have happened over the last 7 weeks, so we should probably
Yeah.
touch on those. So a quick one first. I know, I can't remember I think it was you, Rich, shared a playlist that Jimmy World frontman Jim Adkins had put together ahead of their UK gigs, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've done some big shows in the last couple of weeks to do the 25th anniversary of Bleed American.
Yeah. And our good buddies who we mentioned in episode 6 when we did the amazing bands we played with, Dutch Schultz were on the playlist.
Yeah.
With their awesome song Brutus, which was
And they weren't buried in it. They were like the second track on the playlist.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So that was a lovely surprise to see.
Yes.
And it was a surprise for everyone because I texted Willie from Dutch Schultz and he had no idea.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
So-
Yeah, second on.
and it is a great song, Brutus. I'd recommend. I think it's the one we put on our playlist for that episode, so I'd recommend everyone to check it out.
Richly deserved.
Talking of our pals, Jamie Lemon's had a new album out a couple of
Yes.
weeks ago. Bandcamp only release. I think we've all had a listen. And
I have.
who wants to go first? I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've given it a couple of listens. Really enjoying it.
I had to go front to back today, and I thought it was excellent. I just hearing him let rip with some riff kind of savagery and just bellow his heart out. I realise is what I want from Jamie Lemon. It's wicked.
But there are some lovely melodies and even
Oh,
the
there
odd
are.
harmony buried in
Oh,
there.
there are.
You know,
Yeah,
there's some great
yeah.
stuff.
There is, but
it does sound like he's having a lot of fun.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, there's a wicked sense of humour in there as well. I bought it off Bandcamp and I had about three goes through it. And the first listen, you kind of admire it. It's sort of ugly kind of savagery in places, and then next listen you go, oh, actually, there's as you said, Ollie, a hell of a lot of melody in there, and I also got the humour. There's some really funny moments on there. I think the riff about what's the song, Losing Weight for a Wedding or whatever. The riff on that is hilarious. The spoken word elements are really funny as well. I think although I bought it, I'm hoping there's like a lyric sheet or something, because you can tell there's a lot of the spleen venting on there. You can't quite make out, and usually what he does is such wit and individualism. I kind of leaning in to hear what he's actually saying. So I'm being a lyrics guy, I'm interested to be able to hear that. But also some great riffs, and actually for something I thought was quite nasty sounding, it's actually really lovely sounding in places, like the guitar tones, like the sound of the drums, the kick drum, and some things you go, oh, actually, this is really tasty.
He's got
He's played everything himself on that, right?
I didn't realize he'd done the drums. Wicked.
Yeah.
He's got a really interesting way with melody, even in a gnarly riff. I think it's adding extra strings and notes into it to give it some texture.
Well, he knows what he's doing. I mean, when it comes to writing a riff, there's no flies on him.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I think that's a hard recommend from us. It's on.
Surely you mean an easy recommender?
Yeah, okay. An easy hard recommend from us. It's on Bandcamp for pay what you want. So go and grab it if you haven't already. We'll segue from there, actually. Rye, you've been to Arctangent Festival over the last few weeks.
I have.
Jamie was one of the acts on, so I think let's segue into that, shall we?
Yeah. Love to. So I had an amazing time. It's my fourth time Arctangent, I think, but only the first time I've like done a whole weekend and gone all in. It was brilliant. I can't express how much it feels like I'm among like my people when I get there. It took me a while, a period of adjustment. I was walking from tents in towards the arena, and you start seeing all these T-shirts. Which, if I saw them in my local pub, I was like, "Oh my God, you're wearing an Entombed T-shirt! I must talk to you." I was like, "Oh no, calm down, Ryan. That's what the whole festival is like." But yeah, saw nearly 40 bands in 3 days.
Wow.
And yeah, saw some wicked people, and it was all brilliant. It's such a compact site, and there's two bands on those two stages, and two bands on the other two, so you can just see loads. Even if you've got a bit of a clash, you can meander between really quickly and see both bands in that slot. I was going to call out a few bands if I could.
Yeah, please do.
So my first day, I saw more than 10 bands each day. I'm going to call it a handful. I saw Psychonaut, who are I think they're Belgian, post-metal affair. That was the first band of the day where it was like, okay, this is serious. Three-piece, unafraid of these big kind of melodic, riffy passages. Brilliant. Agent Fresco, I went to see because I'd listened once, and I thought they sounded a bit like Leprous, and I love Leprous. Went to see them. They're much more like a kind of a hardcore band with a falsetto singer, and I totally bought in. I'm an Agent Fresco fan for life.
Hang on, a hardcore band with a falsetto singer?
Yeah.
That's a combo I'm not sure I can imagine another band.
Yeah, so like you've heard Leprous and they've got a falsetto singer, yeah?
Yeah.
But like these guys have got a similar vibe, but they've got more of a sort of angular, a post-hardcore kind of thing then.
Right.
Yeah.
So artier, not like I was
yes.
imagining like.
Oh no,
Refused.
not like no, not being like Converge with a falsetto singer.
Yeah.
More like Glassjaw were good and had a falsetto singer.
Right. But I mean, the idea of Converge with a falsetto singer. Let's maybe take a moment and just cast a thought in that direction too.
Yeah. I saw Igor, we've seen before, and they were immense, and seeing them with like thousands of people was brilliant. But like I also like, because you're seeing bands back to back all day, I was like, I left before Igor finished because then I wanted to go and see like two more quite full-on bands who were starting straight after. So I was like, I am actually going to have a breather. Then straight after that, pretty much, I went to see Marussia, who were one of the best things I saw all weekend. So they are from Manchester. They've got bassist, a drummer, and a sax player, and a poet singer guy who plays guitar some of the time. And they are a full force bit of art. Wonderful. It was just they're jazzy and they're heavy and they're poetic and they go at it. And it was like nothing I saw that day. They were just the real deal. They were brilliant.
You played them to me over here in recent times, and I was blown away as well.
Yeah,
just like proper what you want from like a heavy art rock band or something, I suppose, isn't it? Sludge art rock.
Yeah, I had the sense from watching the singer, who was incredible. It's almost like this is the art I'm doing at the moment. It seems like just a pure living, breathing artist. He could be a painter or a sculptor or anything. He was full force behind the art. Brilliant. Friday, Heck have detonated a tent like no one I've ever seen. So they're 4-piece, their last ever show. I've talked about Haggard Cat, and the drummer and one of the guitarists
I was going to say, is that the same band? I thought
it's not the same band. No, Heck are the 4-piece, Baby Godzilla, and then became Heck. They're a pretty at it hardcore band, but like from song one, the two guitarists are like, crowd surfing, playing guitar, someone trying to hold a microphone in front of their face, climbing up shit, jumping off it, just raising absolute hell. Wall of death crashing into the guitarist while he's playing. It was just like it was 40 minutes, more than that, of them just going absolutely nuts. It was unbelievable.
Was it as nuts as when we saw Dillinger? Did they exceed Dillinger levels of on stage exertion?
Yeah. No. Yes. Yeah.
Really?
They were,
wow.
yeah, because they were just
That's amazing.
start to finish, like getting to the very back of the crowd, getting them like he managed to get vertical, getting the crowd surfing. They managed to get him standing with the crowd holding him, and then someone trying to get a mic stand up to him, and it's just like it was absolutely mental. It was amazing. So Napalm Death, who I went to
What
see,
were they like?
they were way more fun than I expected.
Did we watch them before, right?
We watched them at Glastonbury. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to see them because Napalm Death are playing, and they're an institution, but they were actually, really, really good fun. I've listened to them since, and I didn't enjoy that, but I'd go and see them again. And then Primus headlined that day, and I was really impressed with Primus. I've watched all of the series where they select their new drummer, so I knew a few songs through that, but they were a proper groovy machine of a headline band. Great show. Don't know why I sound surprised, but they were absolutely wicked. Saturday saw Jamie, who was brilliant, played like a proper kind of career-spanning show with stuff from first Reuben album right through all his solo records and a bunch of songs after the one we've just talked about.
2-piece?
Sorry, 2-piece, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, was it? It was loud, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought something in my
Yeah.
head. I thought it was an acoustic show.
No. And nice touch for No One Wins the War, opening track off first record. He was like, so long story short, he said, it turns out there's a Reuben tribute band. And I've seen them and they're really good. So to play this song, here's the drummer from the Reuben tribute band. I've never played with him, but he plays it really well. And absolutely nailed the track. It was great. Then I'll only do two more. I went to see High on Fire because they got Matt Pike in them, and I always feel like I should like High on Fire because I love Sleep. So saw some of that. And again, they were way more fun and groovy than I expected. When I always listened to High on Fire, it's like, oh, you're a bit grooveless and not very fun. So about
They
three
always
tracks.
sound like they're much more bluster than fun on
Yeah,
record, don't they?
But they were better than I thought, and I'm going to give them another go. And then the end of my weekend was Cult of Luna and Julie Christmas doing the album Mariner, start to finish. And it was absolutely majestic.
How well do you know that album?
I know that album very well. So
Nice.
but yeah, well enough that there's like, when the chorus is coming in on like the last one track, it's like, oh, of course it's this. Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely epic. Amazing weekend. Brilliant. And I spoke to quite a few people just kind of loitering around, just even like on the Thursday, Friday, where we were just kind of, how excited are you for Cult of Luna? Just because I was super excited for Cult of Luna. And like I met someone who traveled from Mexico because Cult of Luna were playing Mariner.
Wow.
I met people who'd come from France, from Netherlands to come to Arctangent because they were playing that album.
And who is Julie Christmas? I assume she's some relative of Santa.
Some descendant, I think. Yeah. She's a shouty American vocalist.
Oh, right.
She
Cool.
has lots of her own solo albums and stuff, and she is the real deal. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know that album well, but I watched a snip of, and I was expecting something ethereal and I didn't get it. She was in it, nailing it, hitting it really hard.
Yeah, it was best show of the weekend, and I need some time to process it. But if we redid our gigs of our time, it might feature.
Wow.
I feel like I need to have a listen to that.
Christmas is her middle name
Oh, is it?
because she was born on Christmas Day.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
There we go.
at the
Awesome.
North Pole.
That's right. Sounds like a lovely
great.
weekend. Week before that, you and Rye went to see Life of Agony. You've mentioned that was coming a few times on this pod.
Oh,
How
yeah.
was it?
Oh, Life of
Where
Agony,
was
yeah.
it?
It was in the Thekla, which is a venue in Bristol, an old august venue in Bristol, which is a boat and has been holding gigs since the 60s, moored in the middle of town. It's one of my favourite venues in town to see a show. It's got a really weird angle in that the room that you see the show in is, depending on where you're standing, one of the worst places to see a show and one of the best. So if anyone's been in there, like when you get down to the bar downstairs, it's just the whole bottom of the boat, the length of it. That is, with iron walls, all that, is the venue with the stage at the nose of the boat, I assume. And if you stand by the bar, there's a massive bulkhead separating you from the stage. So all you can see is just about the stage, and then directly around where people's heads are on stage, it's just a massive bit of ceiling. You can't see anything more than that, and it's terrible, and it sounds rubbish. And it's always, for a good show, full way back past that point. So there may be like 100 people or so standing there happily having that as their show for the evening. But then if you push through these people and you've just got to, barge your way in, you get to the front bit where suddenly it opens out in front of the stage. And the best way I could describe it is it's like, that sort of movie trope, maybe from like a good 80s or 90s film of a gig venue, an underground gig, where there's like people all baying up around the first floor, around the top, all leaning out, and it's all really sort of, everyone's going crazy, and the stage is there, and the band's right in front of everyone. It feels like that, and as soon as you get forward into that bit, it just feels like the best venue in the world. It's like you're in a little sort of cube of space with people all up around the back, and the band right sort of on top of you, and it sounds suddenly amazing when you get in there. So we went down to see Life of Agony, who are, there's a band, there are bands that you adore, absolutely love, and someone would say, "Oh, you adore them, so you're saying everyone should listen to that?" And you're like, "Oh, no. What I said is I adore them. I didn't say that everyone should listen to them, because they're an acquired taste, and in some ways, they're a little bit cringy sometimes, and some aspects of them are entertaining in different ways. But at the end of the day, when there's a band, you just love them, and they were a big formative sort of band for me, and they were playing. And yeah, they were playing their first two albums exclusively. The second of which, Ugly, was one of the first records that when we first met, me and Rai bonded on, and we've both been Left Side Brain's resident Life of Agony fans ever since. We've seen it a few times over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Is the third time, is it now, Ryan?
I think so. Yep.
Third time. Always been good, but this time I think it's the best we saw them. They were delighted to be there. They were clearly super well on it. They've been touring these records around for a while recently, and they just smashed it out of the park. Keith Caputo was on.
Yeah, they got a
top
new drummer,
form,
which made a difference. I thought
yes,
she was absolutely wicked.
Yeah,
yeah. She was maybe better than the guy that was on those records. And
yeah, she certainly inhabited his style perfectly. Didn't
yeah,
she?
but and she was cooler. She was a business. She was great.
Yeah, just so those shows where you just know that every single song they play is going to be a song that you know. It's a rare treat, and it was just like hit after hit. And I thought, yeah, Caputo was singing his ass off. It was amazing. Yeah, they were just so much better than they needed to be to entertain me. So I was absolutely blown away by it. It was amazing.
I agree with all of that. I think it is a really interesting spot to be in. I love those first two records dearly, but I don't put them on very often. So, but then the only question when they're going to play those two records is what order are they going to do them in?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to do one and the other? And then they structured it brilliantly.
And they even snuck in one song off of the album after that, which was the best one off of that album.
Yeah,
we were like the little squealing fangirls when that one came on. It was amazing.
What I would like to add, just in case anyone's ever looked at Caputo's social media, is I do love Life of Agony. I don't think I agree with anything Keith Caputo says. Including some of what he said from the stage that night.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Some of the opinions he shared. I find myself booing one of my favorite bands. He's also a complicated and awful character.
He double as your dentist, G. Might have similar opinions.
Yes, of course, right. Yeah. Sorry. I was thinking of Little Shop of Horrors. Where are we going?
They were incredible.
Yes, big recommend actually on the subject of Keith Caputo's troubled life leading up to him behaving the way that he does. There's an amazing documentary film. I can't remember what it's called now, but like a proper film, big real documentary on it, which is a great watch.
And then as we were leaving, I loved this show so much that only, as far as I was going, they'd only played hits. Just stepping up the stairs. I think I said to Gareth before I went to the gents and we wandered home, like, I've loved this so much. surely we know some people here.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like the core of what I know and
Not a
love.
single person.
No.
And lo and behold, within about
Yeah.
3 seconds, Mikey and Steve from Cars on Fire came up the stairs. Which, with hindsight, of course, they were literally the people who would have to be there because they're the only other people I can think of in Bristol who are out as Life of Agony fans. But it was an absolute treat to see those guys. And big props to Cars on Fire. We played a lot of shows with them back in the day,
Good.
and they are a whopping band. Big recommend. Go and find their record.
Therefore.
They were better than us.
Rich, you've also been to a pretty special gig in the last, 2 nights ago, was it?
Yeah, saw Deftones again, coming back around on their, I think, final victory lap on their latest album. So we saw them in February on the main tour, and this is their late summer jaunt through European festivals and also some big shows. One huge one in London, which I was at, and then I think they went on to Dublin and maybe Glasgow or Edinburgh, or finishing up. So this is their
And that was in the O2, was it?
No, it was outside in Victoria Park. So it's their biggest headline show ever in the UK, 50,000 people for this event called Outbreak Festival, but it's basically their, I didn't see any of the other bands on. We got there quite late. Bands like Interpol, JPEG Mafia, all that different stuff. But yeah, it was absolutely enormous outside show. So many people, so many super young people. I know we experienced this when we went to see them in February, how young their audience is, but my God, even more so this time around. It was super encouraging. I was a little bit further back, so you got the full audio visual hit. I'm not sure I really took in everything from their visuals from the time we saw them because we were fairly close. But it was just gobsmacking assault of sound and visuals. Like, probably the best visuals I've seen at the concert in my life today, I think. But they ran through a lot of what we saw last time, but with some interesting deeper cuts as well. So quite a lot of white pony, some things you wouldn't necessarily expect of Diamond Eyes and Koi no Yokan. That thing where we always talk about bands where you hope that they understand what you think is good about them.
Yeah.
They played a load of those tracks, and the crowd were going nuts. I think I was able to just sit back and enjoy it and watch it a little bit more and just take in some of the tones. Like, they've got some crazy fucking guitar tones versus bass tones when you like absolutely ripping, horrific guitar tones.
They mix it up, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've no doubt it's like uber processed. I think it has to be, some of the guitar sounds and things. But yeah, they were on absolute fire and just full of joy in the same way that we saw them. Chino was loving it.
And still no Steph, right?
No Steph. No, same double guitarist combo of the guy the long-haired guy who's doing all the Steph stuff, and the guy from Far, is it? Who's the guy sort of tucked away on the other side of the stage?
Dawn Lopez.
Yeah, the guy who also is in
Crosses.
Chino's and Crosses as well.
Right. But they've just won it, haven't they? They've won metal.
Right, I think that's more than enough of what we've been up to. Let's
You sure?
let's have a quick look back in the past.
Almost had me multitasking, shitless, never notwithstanding. Almost had me billboard branding, showboat bastard. Almost had me.
We are recording this at the end of August 2026. There's not actually many gigs over the years on or around this date, but coincidentally, we played gigs on the 29th of August in both 2006 and 2007, and both were at the Croft in Bristol. So
That's hot.
Yes, that's probably one of the reasons we didn't
One of them,
do them.
Frank Turner.
The second one was supporting Frank Turner, yes. The first one in 2006 was with Mono Inyo as Yuri.
Hey.
I found actually a little message from Yuji on the message board describing the gig. It said, well, we brought it on, Mono Inyo brought it on, and Azuri brought it on. By the end of the proceedings, so much had been brought on that nothing off was left, for it had all been brought on. Off pile empty, on pile full. Fucking brill night, great bill. Every single band kicked my ass super hard, and my thanks to all for doing so. We busted out a couple of songs that hadn't seen the light of day before, Blunderbuss and Smithereens, and gave Save Yourself its second ever live outing with Baz more than ably filling Jamie's sizable shoes, and throwing in a few cheeky new harmonies to boot, which I can safely report was a fuckload of fun. Thanks for everyone who came, and sorry about the ringing this morning.
Sounds like it was a good one.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that. I think I remember playing with Mono Inyo, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Barry's new band at the time, wasn't it?
Be interested to understand how well we pulled off Blunderbuss and Smithereens, two tracks that sometimes we have been known to struggle with.
That was what
playing.
I thought when they said it with the debut of Blunderbuss. I thought, oh, but we weren't feeling too confident about that.
Yeah.
And as you said, Rich, a year to the day later, we were back at the Croft supporting Frank Turner. I don't know if how much you remember about that gig, but basically he was. Well, I looked it up. I thought it was his early days of doing his solo thing, but it was gig 300 and something already. But he was doing his acoustic stuff. It was straight off the back of Reading and Leeds, which he'd done a couple of days before.
So why the hell was he playing with us?
Well, there was a guy called Jude who was a young guy in Bristol who promoted a few gigs basically, but he knew Frank and was big fans of Left Side Brain. So he put Frank Turner on at the Croft, asked us to be the main support, even though Frank was doing his solo acoustic thing. We did full band support, and then there were a couple of bands on before us. I think one acoustic and one full band. But that's how it happened, basically. It was just the guy who was promoting it liked us both and wanted to see us on together.
Can't argue with that.
The only thing I remember about that is that Frank Turner was wearing a therapy t-shirt.
Back bands.
I don't remember anything about the sets.
No,
No,
I can't
me neither.
remember him playing at all.
I remember him playing because it was, there was already quite a few people gathered at the front singing along with every word. I think his new album had come out the week before, his debut album had come out the week before, or something like that.
Can I just say that every time I think of us playing at the Croft, maybe this is given we're talking about, do you think of Paul, the
Hey,
guy
Paul.
from the Croft, who was always there for us, who shows if we could be, and many other Bristol gigs, he would sort of position himself to come and work with us, and he was a very gentle and lovely guy.
He was a lovely bloke,
a
wasn't he?
lot of fond memories for.
Yeah.
And
I
he was
never-
always delighted to see us, and we were always delighted to see him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I never learned enough about him really, and
No.
he's passed. I do think very fondly of him.
Yeah, bless him.
Sure we all
Good
do.
lad.
Yeah. Top bloke. All right, let's move on to the main discussion topic. So today's main discussion topic leads on from something Rich mentioned in the last episode, which is that he'd got hold of a copy of the unreleased Deftones album known as Eros, or demos for the album, I suppose, probably more realistic. So since then, we've all had a listen, and so we're going to have a chat about those songs and what we made of them, but we'll also address the wider debate of the songs being leaked, what the band themselves have said about it, and whether we should actually be downloading and listening to it at all. But first, Rich, you're going to give us a bit of history and context to this whole thing.
Yeah, so as you said, this is their famous lost album. It was on the list, probably in those the top lists of lost, never released albums that people knew about. Eros was always quite high on that list. And the background is that this was recorded, or these tracks recording, I think, late 2008, 2009, Deftones' own rehearsal and hangout space in Sacramento, with producer Terry Date, who produced 4 of their 5 last albums. So he did everything apart from Saturday Night Wrist, which had come just before this piece. But of course, he was also responsible for so many other huge 90s acts, Pantera, Soundgarden, Helmet, Limp Bizkit, things like the Handsome album, all of those pieces he had his hand in. This is off the back of apparently of a really dark period for the band where they were all super disconnected. I think Saturday Night Wrist, brilliant album, but all recorded separately in the studio. And their intention with this one was trying to reconnect and write as a band in their rehearsal space. So they started work on that, a lot of it recording live. They announced while they were doing it, because this was just the era of the internet really allowing artists to talk directly to their fans, that it was called Eros. And they were blogging and releasing snippets as they go, which is why I think it got a bit of so much interest from fans when it ended up not being released. And it was progressing really well until in late 2008, their bass player Chi Cheng, of course, unfortunately involved in a car accident, which left him hospitalized and then in a coma, at which point everything went on hold. The band eventually recruited a new bass player, Sergio Vega, from Quicksand, who helped them with some festival shows and some fundraising gigs for Chi. At that point, we know that Chino said that Eros was, he said, about 70 to 80% finished in terms of instrumental work, probably months off having the vocals finished. And the decision was made at that point to scrap it, at least until the point that she recovered. And their plan from that point was to try and record something more, in their words, positive and upbeat compared to Eros, which was purported to be a very dark album, which led them on to Diamond Eyes and, of course, releasing that album. Everything went quiet from that point. From one of the tracks we now know in retrospect was released in 2013, a year after Chi's death, unfortunate death. And that's the song Smile, we can come on to talk about, was dedicated to Chi, and it's only been performed once. That's the only track off the album that's ever been performed by them, one of their shows, and I think about 2019. But anyway, since then, what do we know? Well, everybody's been ravenous to try and hear this. And the band always discounted releasing it because they said that it wasn't up to the quality that they want to release. But the legend around it really grew. The legend was that it was this really dark, unorthodox, aggressive piece. Steph Carpenter, the guitarist, really came to the fore in terms of energetic aggression. We can come on to discuss whether we think that's the case. We also knew that the songs were all named after strippers, apart from the track Smile. And that's been the case until June 2026. It was leaked. As Ollie said, we've heard a bit from the band around their feelings around that, ranging from being completely pissed off to being quite accepting of it, I suppose. And clearly this isn't something they wanted released. Clearly they see it as unfinished, not a complete album. But it's, the last thing I say is interesting. If you look at Reddit pages, Deftone fans, largely they see this as a triumphant album, like it's a real missing piece in their catalogue. I don't think the band feel that. We can discuss what we think. We now heard it.
Thanks, Rich. I think just before we start talking about that, then probably worth us going around and just saying what our relationship with Deftones is and how well we know them, how we feel about them as a band, and this whole period. I don't know, Rich, you go first.
Well, I probably came to them later than all of you guys. I knew the name, but the first time I listened to a Deftones song was following my first Left Side Brain rehearsal, around that time when one of you guys pressed a tape into my hand and said, listen to this. And it was White Pony. It was the first track on White Pony. Is it Fetisera?
Mm-hmm.
But subsequently, probably not as a result of White Pony, but from the subsequent albums, one of my favorite bands, probably top 2, top 3.
Rye?
Yeah, I love Deftones. Have done since Adrenaline. I rinsed the hell out of that when I was when I was 18, and they have been one of, if not my favorite bands, consistently ever since. Like everyone, I've got a kind of collection of bands I hold at the top of things. It's always hard ranking stuff, but they have forever been at the top, if not at the top, ever since then. Amazing body of work.
Cool. G?
This goes back to, again, the days when Ryan and I had just met. So we'd be like sort of sixth form, And I actually remember the first time I heard them specifically. I got a phone call from a good friend, Dr. Benny, bass player from Tupolev Ghost, who I think we mentioned in a previous episode, and Ryan's bestie as well. And he phoned me up. We may have been in a band together at the time. I'm not entirely sure, but he was mega excited. He's so excited about Adrenaline, the Deftones album that just come out, that He'd called me up to play it to me over the landline. He's like, "Gee, you got to hear the intro to this song," and he played me minus blindfold, the second track off of Adrenaline, where it just starts with diddly 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 diddly, nice and quiet, and then the massive guitars come in, and he played that at top volume over the landline phone that I listened to in my kitchen in my parents' house, and that was my introduction to Deftones. Yeah, we've loved them ever since. They've just been a constant. Seen them a bunch of times. There's so many Deftones records that I lose track. I've listened to them all many times, but when you start thinking about like, oh, well, what was on Koi no Yokan and what was on, self-titled, I lose track completely. But it's just a big old wash of greatness, isn't it? They're all good. They've never had a bad record, apart from the one with the flamingos on, of course.
James, I saw. I think the first time I saw them was on the tour when I think My Own Summer, Shove It was out as a single, but the album wasn't out yet. Around the Fair wasn't out yet. So I saw them, what, that's the 97. Absolutely ripping.
I saw them first time on the Warped Tour in Boulder,
Oh, nice.
in America, where they played in a car park with NoFX and Rancid and Bad Religion, and they opened with what's that one off the first record that goes that one?
Yeah.
The last song.
It's track 6.
They get straight to it on a CD player, which is, if I could have chosen the song for them to open with, that's what I would have chosen. Delighted.
Great. For me, I guess I'm the least close to Deftones of the four of us. G and Rye, you introduced me to them when we moved in together at the tail end of '99. I remember the hype before White Pony came out. We were all very ready for it, so much so that I was the one that actually went out and bought the CD. I think I had the copy in the house. I had that. Remember that digipack with the game on it with do you remember that on the bonus disc?
I do. Yeah,
like a Pac-Man type game with Chino going around and eating things and But yeah, White Pony was a massive, massive album in our house, wasn't it? And that and Around the Fair, I listened to a lot. But since then, despite how much I've loved them and I've seen them a few times, I've never spent much time with any of their subsequent albums. So I've actually ended up with the point that this one that we're going to talk about in a minute, I probably listen to more now than quite a few of their proper albums, which I'm not sure is a great place to be, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, always loved them, especially when I've seen them live. But for whatever reason, perhaps partially what G said, that sort of, it becomes a body of work. They have such a sheen over everything they do that it all almost melds from one to the next. But can't argue with Deftones. They're one of the greats, aren't they? All right, so let's have a talk about how we feel about all this then, before we talk about what we think of the actual songs. We're not going to do a review in the traditional manner because it's not comparing like for like. It's a different context. So it's probably important we have that discussion first about the band clearly don't want us to hear these songs, not in their current format anyway, but someone has leaked them. Lots of people have listened to them, including us. So how do we feel about that?
Yeah, my initial reaction was very similar. Like, well, I'm quite principled. Like, well, if they don't want me to hear them, then I jolly well won't.
I shall not. Yes.
Yes.
You're welcome, Deftones.
Yes. Yeah. And then little by little, I was like, I do love Deftones. And I've always wondered what it sounded like. So maybe I'll just have a listen.
I think if I loved Deftones as much as you guys do, then I wouldn't have been able to resist having a listen. Because I was talking about the Queen 2 box set that came out a few months back, and they've released a load of outtakes from the studio where you can hear the band talking and stuff that in their prime they never would have wanted anyone to hear, but now with time and everything else they've released. And as a fan of a band, you want to hear everything, don't you? You want warts and all.
Yeah.
It's not the same. I should prefix what I'm about to say with it's not the same. But from the band's point of view, we have a bunch of early LSB songs that at the time we released on CD, but now we've talked about this various times, and some of us in the band aren't keen for those to be out there and anyone to listen to because we don't think it represents where we ended up or what we actually sound like. And actually, it isn't the same because in our case, I think not enough people know who we are and might hear that and probably get the wrong idea. I think Deftones, they know how much they're loved. They must know how much they're loved and how much it's genuine fondness and interest. So perhaps at some point they'll kind of relax a little bit and realize that actually this is all done with love. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Rich? You love them as much as anyone.
Yeah, but everything I've heard, I've again read the Reddit boards. I've read people meeting them and asking them, meeting them on the street and asking them. Generally, they sort of say, "Look, I don't know if annoyed is the right word, but just unhappy that essentially these are unfinished. It wasn't their intention to put them out there, but also there's this feeling of there's nothing you can do about it. Fans seem to know well enough that this isn't." Actually, what I think it is they were worried that someone might think this is actually a finished product. This is an album in their catalog, a real album in their catalog. It's their opinion. It is not. Some fans do see it that way.
I think you could make a case for the morals and of leaking it. The person who did the leaking, you could probably argue that was maybe not cool. But once it's been leaked, I think it's different to be the person who's listening to the thing that's been leaked. I saw a Dara O'Brien bit which stuck with me about people complaining about living in a terraced house and everyone's always looking in your window. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, but if you've got your curtains open, I'm looking in your front room. And that's sort of how I feel with this. It's out there. Yeah, I'm looking in their front room. Why wouldn't I?
Good analogy. I wonder how small the circle of potential leakers is.
What do you mean?
Well, like
who could have got their hands on it?
Exactly.
How many people have had a copy of it from Deftones? And I wonder if they're just like, I suspect Terry Date's engineer mate that was in that.
Well, I think you're on the right lines because it wasn't just this that was leaked. It was also the demos for Ohms in the same file, which was from the last Terry Date session. I think there have been some producers that have leaked some of their stuff, but I'm not saying it's Terry Date that did it. I doubt that.
I think you are saying it's Terry Date that did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, there's always a yin and a yang with Deftones, I think, and some of them might be furious. When I was looking at what they thought, Steph didn't seem to care either way.
I mean, if there's a candidate within the band for it, it was Steph.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget there was that
other things.
There's that amazing Zane Lowe interview with the whole band, including Steph, just before Private Music came out, and he didn't know the name of the album, he didn't know the name of he didn't know the sequence of the songs. He hadn't heard anything for 12 months when he recorded his part.
My favorite interview with Steph is one done by a super nerdy guitar channel when they get the guitar players to run through their whole rig and talk in detail about all the technical things that are going on. And they're going through all of his guitars, and some of his guitars have got a brand new state-of-the-art pickup on them, which is from one of the Fishman Fluence pickups, which the latest, most expensive, coolest thing you can possibly have. All sorts of different things they do, amazing technology, and they're pushing him to like, so what do you think with your signature ones you got? How do you feel about them? How did you find, the experience of using them? Which ones did you choose and why? And he goes, I gotta be honest with you, man, I just think they look cool. And he refuses to be drawn any further than that. They got this stripe along them. I just think they look really cool, man. I don't know any of the rest of the stuff. And it's got his name on it. You can buy them in the shop with his name on it.
So I love Steph. And the band love Steph. I think they see him as an innocent, really. That's how I see him. He's just,
He
he is what
must
he
be
is.
protected.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because of all his
Yeah.
health problems as well. I think they really look out for him.
Yeah, I think I rule him out as a leaking suspect pretty early on.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got like the access.
Unable.
Yeah.
Right then, so what do we actually think of the songs then? Now you finally all had a listen.
Can I say before we
Mhm.
start, my absolute hope here is that we agreed we'd do this review. We all went off to, you got to find the copies to and links to download and all that sort of stuff. I dearly hope that it becomes really clear really quickly that we've all downloaded different records.
Yeah.
The flute solo on track 2. What do you mean the flute solo on track 2?
I hadn't expected so much of the brass band. Yeah, what do we think?
There's a violin on one track, isn't there? I don't know if you picked up on that. That was
Yeah, or something that sounded like one, certainly, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to kick off with some general thoughts. I was like, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it sounds like it would have been a really good Deftones album. Just loads of really high quality stuff in there. It felt like there were hits in there that
Yes.
would have done business in the world. Yeah, it felt like just a shame that such high quality material didn't get the full treatment and come out into the world. Yeah, I thought, I was genuinely really enjoyed it.
Do you think I was because I mentioned that thing about it being trailed as this dark thing with lots more stuff, lots more riffs. Eno staying in his lane away from
Neither of those
guitars.
things.
I think
Mm.
my impression is it's not a sequenced album because you've got the first 6 tracks are mostly big, dreamy, mid-paced songs. And then it gets more riffy towards the end. There are fewer riffs than I was kind of, but the quality, as you say, of the songs and the melodies are very high.
There's some choruses on there that are just like swinging for the bleachers or whatever, aren't they? Just massive.
I mean, I for everything I've read and heard about this, and listened to it, and obviously a lot of it does sound like earlier demos than it doesn't have that production sheen on it at all, does it? I mean, it's much rawer. My suspicion is the numbers have been put on later. I don't think that's the order of songs that was destined for the final album at all. I think it's just they happened to have stuck 1 to 11 on the front of them. I don't think the band did that necessarily. But that's just my
Or
suspicion.
maybe not.
I think it's just a collection of songs at this point.
I think it's really interesting listening to the pre-Sheen mixes of it all. It's okay. They're obviously playing brilliantly. The performances are all great, but here Abe's drums do sound like a drum kit in a room. You can hear it. It's like you can hear him playing. Before it's been they sound like they're mortal on it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's fascinating kind of glimpse into the process. It's really interesting. I love hearing that. Before I get into any details of the tracks, just the way the mix has landed.
I've written a similar comment. I mean, all my comments are more general than track specific in the main, but very similar. Without that sheen, they sound like it. It's clearly Deftones. I think, despite that, it's clearly them. It's got the Deftones melodies, the intervals he uses in his singing, the harmonies they use. It's clearly them, but it sounds like a little bit more like other bands of the time.
Do you think?
I think so. I think just in the rawness of it. So the first track reminded me a little bit of Throat actually, and Dutch Schultz, and that kind of without the sheen. It's similar sort of lovely melodies, but yeah, just that bit more raw. And actually the last track reminded me a little bit of we talked about when we toured with Phony and the new sound that they were trying to come up with. That's on that new album with Fraser singing for them and stuff. There's some melodies on that that hark back to that sort of noughties. I don't know what you'd call it, but just of its time. But you can imagine that once they did that finished production job over it and put the sheen on, suddenly it would be Deftones, and it would be that sitting several divisions above everything else.
Well, yeah, there's always been, well, I don't know about always, but certainly latterly, they've become such a highly produced band. God knows how much money they've spent on mixing and production to get to getting those dynamics right. I completely agree with what you're saying there.
There's a lot of stuff there where it feels like the guitars are unmixed,
Yes.
and there's a lot of the beef missing. A lot of the bottom end of all of the tracks is sort of not there really. It's really trebly and vocal heavy, and all the top end of stuff is screaming out there.
There's a couple of tracks where he's just phonetically chatting. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
On lyrics. There's lyrics in the chorus, but there's not in the verse.
What did you guys think of the auto tune?
I took that as well. It was really interesting. Never heard them do it anything like before. But I also took it as like they must try a lot of different effects on Chino's voice.
Mm.
And
But they've got it on for the whole record in inverted commas, right?
Yeah, and live shows as well. So drenched in this stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. It was really, really noticeable in some, where it kind of like skipping to the note and stuff.
It does the share thing, but
Yeah.
I would say every song on there he's singing with auto tune.
Hmm.
I did a little bit of looking around. Well, in honesty, it was an extended argument with Gemini about what people think about and what they know about this stuff, and the consensus seems to be that it's not necessarily the case that was going to stay on. It could be that was just a nice tool when you're demoing, that you just get everything's in tune and it's just a nice way to sort of write stuff. Or it could be there was a rumor that maybe they were looking to expand into more modern sounding, sort of affected sort of weirdness, and that it could have been that it ended up being a gimmick on the record. But that was a new thing with them. Either way, fascinating.
Just yeah.
Yeah, I mean that one chorus where he has that, as you say, the share effect. I just assumed that was them still in the early stages trying something that probably wouldn't have made it onto the final record.
Electra.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah,
Good one. That's one of my top. I've Smile, which is the really big.
Yeah, and that sounds like a finished one,
banger, isn't
it? Yeah, that's giant, and it's hard. The kind of the chord. It's hard not to feel a chi kind of emotion through that, right? Like, I can't remember what the second half is. It's Smile, You're Born Again. Smiles is like.
There's probably a reason why they chose to release that one, right?
Yeah.
It would have been in the room. That's the one that maybe was the most apt because of people's input to it, maybe, and how everyone felt about it, and maybe it's got the most of him on it, or
Yeah, but I always think of Deftones tracks and records of where's the balance between the Chino arty Chinese soundscape stuff and the Steph beef.
At Taylor's oldest time, any Deftones record is like, what's the Chino Steph balance? That's the first thing I need to know.
Exactly, and even though there's slightly more grunt towards the end. And then there's maybe is it Melanie that came out swinging. It still feels like overall a very Chino dreamy record.
Yeah,
Melanie's the only one in the first half that's riff.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder about the balance of every record that comes out, but I don't think that Steph has won any of them since White Pony, maybe.
But then
or maybe self-titled.
What about Ohms? That's pretty.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe Ohms. Yeah.
But then I also wonder if this is also unfinished, right? So like there was a play out in one of the tracks. I think it's Diamond. There's like a big swinging lumbering thing at the end of it. We're saying this is built to have like a giant guitar just kind of trudging over the top of it. And
is that the last track?
Last but one track I think it was on what we've got. But it's like, but maybe that's still to come.
Yeah.
It feels like it deserves that kind of absolute grunt over the top of it of Steph's low strung guitars.
There were definitely a couple of songs which, and you guys know Deftones better than me, but there was some that didn't sound like they were close to being what the finished version would sound like. They sounded rough and ready, probably the first version they'd recorded. over another few months would have morphed into something
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
better, I guess. There's some, it's all good, but there's some that's clearly probably not up to their usual standard because it was in that early stage.
Yeah, actually, while we're on the subject of that one, Diamond, as a song, I think that feels like one of the most unfinished of them all, right?
Mm.
And it starts off with this sort of deliberately very sort of obtuse, spiky staccato riff bit, which doesn't really do a lot for me, to be honest.
Not very good.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, a lot of bluster, not much fun. And then it goes into this sort of second section, which is a completely different sort of piece of music. I would be fascinated to know if anyone else had the same reaction to it that I did. The moment they hit into that second section, they're just playing basically Only in Dreams by Weezer. The whole chord sequence is it's the end of Only in Dreams. They've changed it slightly, like it's not, they couldn't sue them for it. It's more a nod to it. And yeah, it's the sequence. It's just oh my god, it's Only in Dreams. Well, they're doing Only in Dreams because they're famously massive Weezer fans, right?
Yeah.
They did the cover of Say It Ain't So and all that sort of stuff. And I looked about on the internet, and I'm not the only person who spotted that. It seems to be a commonly accepted thing that was them doing a real nod. And I guarantee, if you hadn't spotted it, next time we put it on, it'll be clear as day to you.
Yeah, he's a huge Weezer fan, isn't he?
Any more highlights or anything else of interest?
It was nice to hear Chi, the bass player, bring a kind of dubbier element that maybe hasn't been there since he's
100%.
gone as a-
I had the same thought, man. That you forget how interesting the bass used to be on Deftones records, because there was someone in there making a point, trying to get themselves across, which I guess probably hasn't necessarily been the case since. It's been someone filling a gap rather than being an identity in there.
Mm.
Yeah, he was a good bass player. He was properly all over the place in the best possible way. He had a real signature sound, which you don't realize until it's not there, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. I also thought there's a couple of tracks that have just got the kind of lovely, super tight harmonies that are they give that kind of extra emotion on the choruses. Just,
do you know what makes it easier to have super tight harmonies?
Well, yes, yeah.
You still got to pick the right notes, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. There's some colossal choruses.
Oh, there are. There really are. And I thought, like Candy, that felt like it could be a kind of only just didn't make White Pony kind of track. There is some real quality on it.
Proper crowd-friendly banger, right?
Yeah.
It's a brave choice, isn't it, to go from that into a completely different album, Diamond Eyes. And I think Diamond Eyes is very, very high quality and very high on the riff.
How is it different, Richie? Because this going back to what we were talking about earlier about the sort of the massive morass of stuff that they've got that often I struggle to navigate. You could name Diamond Eyes and be like, I don't know which ones are on there. And I looked earlier now to try and work. What was Diamond Eyes? Is that different sound into it? And I looked at all of the titles, and because they're one of those bands who they never put the bloody chorus line in the title of the song, I just looked at a bunch of titles like I don't know. I've got nothing. What is the theme of Diamond
Controls
Eyes?
on there. That's as aggressive as anything they've done, isn't it?
Yeah.
How's that go?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's some real aggressive riffers on there. So this is Nick Raskulinez, the guy who did Koino Yokin and Private Music. So these are, I think, the most successful in terms of production. Just getting the balance right of the big riffs, great sounding keys and synths, and loads of awesome effects on Chino's vocals. But there's things like You've Seen the Butcher, which is a really grindy, awesome slow riffer. There's Rocket Skates.
Oh yes.
You'd know that if you put Rocket Skates on, that's super at it. So it really gets into the Steph riffing territory, and has some of their big, really well known, dreamy, huge ones that are now all over TikTok as well.
Just listening now, just checking.
You listen to Rocket Skates?
Oh, is that the swingy one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. Fantastic. That's the stuff, as the Philistine Deftones fan that I am, that I just want all their songs to be like that. I don't care about the rest of the stuff. I do,
Yeah.
but I don't.
So final thoughts and summing up of your experience with this album, or this collection of songs, should we say?
I think it would have been a great album.
Yeah, it would have been a great album. Really happy I got over my initial kind of principles and dug in and found that, unsurprisingly, it's a corker.
Yeah. Grateful to hear it. I suspect we won't hear another album from Deftones for another 4 or 5 years. So grateful to have this.
Great.
Well done, lads.
Well done. All right, let's wrap it all up.
We'll sing sayonara. We'll sing sayonara.
So, what have we got coming up? Firstly, it's definitely worth saying that we're a month away now from the Oxygen Thief 20th anniversary show at the Croft in Bristol, where I'll be doing a solo set that may or may not feature some LSB along with a couple of other treats. And G will also be playing bass in the Oxygen Thief band. Tickets are now sold out, but there is a waiting list in operation if you've missed out. So if you have got tickets in there, please come and say hello.
It's going to be a real time warp back at the Croft. How many times do you reckon we played the Croft, Tom?
Well, I could tell you, I've got a spreadsheet somewhere, but
Of course you could, and of course you have.
I do not know off the top of my head, but it must be approaching double figures. Not played there for a long time though.
Yeah, and from what I gather, because it's only recently returned to being the Croft again,
Yeah.
having been the Crofters' rights. And from what I gather, I think that they've sort of still got the back room not that dissimilar to how it was. So it should be a reasonably similar gigging experience. I can't wait. It's going to be packed. It's going to be hilarious, and we're going to make some serious noise and sweat, and it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. What else we got coming up? Anything good happening?
Next show I've got is the Oxygen Thief 20th anniversary show in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Don't think I've got anything before that.
I'm not sure when it is, but I realised the other day that at some point in the next couple of months, me and my wife are going to be going to see Rocket from the Crypt in London. And I don't know whether I've ever mentioned this before, but they're my favourite band of all time. And I'm excited just thinking about the prospect of it.
Where are you seeing them?
Camden Underworld.
Oh,
Didn't
wow.
we played the Underworld, didn't we?
We did. It's
Yeah.
not a big
Wow.
venue. You're going to be very close to the...
Yeah.
I think they're playing Scream Dracula Scream in full.
Well, that's lucky because I really like that record.
Me too.
Well, to be honest, I could just press play in my brain and listen to it without paying.
Yeah, we played Camden Underworld a couple of times, didn't we? But also, if you remember, G, we roaded for downsets at Camden Underworld.
Oh, did we?
I think you were stuck out front on merch, but I was
Yes.
guitar teching for Roy Z. And Benji from Skindred, who was supporting that night, encouraged the crowd to invade the stage in the final when they did Anger as the encore. So I was on all fours over Roy Z's guitar pedals, trying to protect them while the whole crowd in the Underworld got up on stage.
Amazing.
Jumping up
And
and
that
down.
would
They went
be-
through the floor. They were jumping up and down so hard.
What? So that would be the same night when Benji was on the bus afterwards, right?
Yeah, correct.
Right.
One of Skindred's first ever gigs, I think. They were just starting out. And they played the last couple of nights of that tour with Downset. Anyway, that just leaves us with a play-out track. Gee, you're picking it this week. What are we going for?
Well, why not? As it came up in discussions earlier, one of my favourite LSB tracks, "Blunderbuss" off of Action Potential. I still stand by that as an absolute swinging banger.
Great choice. Yeah, can't argue with
And
that.
With the famous story of the lyric that is difficult to shake the Irish accent from.
For you, yes.
For me, yeah.
So the lyric goes, "I can assure you it's there." Is that right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
one of those mental raspberries where you can't drop the Irish accent.
Perfect.
I can assure you.
Yeah, sadly, we didn't pick up the video camera in the studio until we'd already been trying it for at least 10 minutes, and we were all in tears of laughter because you just could not sing it straight at all.
I couldn't. So it is on the album for eagle-eared listeners.
Yeah.
Eagles have ears? They must do.
They do, but I don't think they're famous for having good hearing. I think.
Yeah. Okay, this is Blunderbuss. We'll see you all again very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
there's a fire.